Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone this morning to the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform and to a hearing which is entitled America's Heroin and Opioid Abuse Epidemic. I'd like to welcome our ranking member, Mr. Cummings, and all the members and our witnesses this morning to this hearing, and call the hearing to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess at any time. The order of business this morning will be as follows. We'll begin the hearing with opening statements from myself, the ranking member. Other members are welcome to submit opening statements. And with Mr. Cummings' support, we will leave the record open for, how many days?
5 days.
Five days, legislative days, for additional comments or statements. Without objection, so ordered. And when we complete the opening statements, we'll turn to our panel of witnesses. We have 5 distinguished witnesses today, 3 at the federal level, 1 at the state, 1 at the local level for our hearing. We'll swear those witnesses in, and then we will hear their testimony, then we'll proceed with questions. So that will be the order of business that will follow. So again, welcome, and I'll start with my opening statement. Unfortunately, the United States is experiencing a historic epidemic of drug overdose deaths. Today, drug overdoses are the leading cause of accidental death in the United States. In 2014, I don't have the 2015 figures yet, but in 2014, there are, listen to this, 47,055 deaths caused by drug overdose death. That means if this hearing lasts for 2 hours, 10 people will die in the next 2 hours in the United States from drug overdose death. More Americans, and this is the little chart showing you the increase since 1999. I remember I chaired Criminal Justice Drug Policy Oversight Subcommittee from 98 to 99, and we thought we had an epidemic back in 99 with 16,000. And I can show you some of the headlines from my local newspapers where we had people dying many people dying over a weekend. Unfortunately, that's what we're seeing again in my community and across the United States. Unfortunately, more Americans have died from drug-related overdoses in 1 year than all that were killed in the lengthy Korean War. If the current trend continues, the annual death rate could climb beyond those killed in Vietnam over that multi-year struggle in 1 year. The graph from the Washington Post illustrates the disturbing rise in drug overdoses between 1999 and 2014. Now, of the 47,000, more than 10,000 Americans died of heroin-related overdoses. Heroin use is increasing at a faster rate. You want to talk about a war on women and a war on our young people. The heroin deaths are killing our women twice the rate of men and 109% more with our youth. Unfortunately, we've seen, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that again with heroin use among deaths among our youth between 18 and 25 in the past decade have soared and again lead the statistics, the deadly statistics. Across all demographics, the rate of heroin-related overdose deaths has increased 286%. While the exact cause of this epidemic is up for debate, Many experts believe the use of other drugs is also a driving factor. Addiction to other drugs, such as prescription painkillers and marijuana, potentially open the door to an epidemic now destroying families and communities. Those addicted to other drugs turn to heroin to get a similar high because it's cheaper and more readily available. Mexican drug cartels have established heroin trafficking routes here in the United States and coming across our borders. Now we see increased supplies in recent years. Had a chance to talk with my police chiefs and law enforcement folks in the district, our HIDA folks, our DEA folks, and we're seeing an incredible supply, and we'll have some questions about where that is specifically coming from. We know a lot of it's coming across the Mexican border. The impact, unfortunately, is felt in communities across the nation. Just a few weeks ago, I met with again, all of the local officials and we have one of my local officials who we'll hear from in a few minutes, Teresa Jacobs, our county mayor in Orange County, who's been forced to deal with a heroin epidemic in Central Florida and her county. In Orange County alone, and you'll hear more about this, we had 475 related heroin bookings in 2013. By the end of 2015, last year, we had 840. The majority of those arrested were between the age of 18 and 44. The Obama administration, unfortunately, I believe, has been sending mixed signals about the use of substances such as marijuana, which is one of the gateway drugs. Talk to anyone who's in counseling, treatment, rehabilitation, and you'll find out that marijuana is a gateway drug, and many of the heroin users start there and work their way up the chain of deadly drugs. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, now listen to this, more high school seniors are now using marijuana than cigarettes. A policy that has been adopted, unfortunately, has consequences. The Just Say No drug policy, which was championed by the late First Lady Nancy Reagan, has turned into a Just Say Okay policy, and now we're seeing the consequences. While improving treatment is a key, enforcement is and must remain an essential part of combating heroin epidemic. When I talked to the police chief and I saw the numbers in our locale, I said, well, it looks like you've been able to keep the lid on some of this, although it is now at epidemic proportions. And they told me, Mr. Mica, he said, this is only because we have now antidotes that can bring these people back. The only reason we aren't seeing double or triple the deaths is because our law enforcement and our first responders can bring these people back if they can get to them in time. Not only illegal immigrants are flowing over the Mexican border, but also illegal drugs. We know that's the main source of the supply of heroin, cocaine, and marijuana, and a host of other deadly narcotics. Stopping deadly drugs from entering the United States is a federal responsibility, and we'll hear from some of those officials engaged in that war. New statistics show federal drug prosecutions, unfortunately, are down 6% in the last year, 2015. This comes after a 14% drop since the beginning of the Obama administration, so-called Smart on Crime initiative. Our frontline law enforcement officers, if we're going to save more of these kids and others who are overdosing, they should be equipped with the resources to prevent and save them from overdose deaths, not just our emergency medical officers. The EMS people get there usually after the first responders, and it may be too late. So this is something else we've learned from our local task force and law enforcement officials. One of the police chiefs in my district informed me that just within the last month or so, we had one student who had to be revived from overdosing 3 times in 1 week. That's astounding. What's astounding is he's still alive and we were able to catch that. Speaker Ryan announced addressing this current epidemic as a priority, and the Senate has acted on some legislation. I believe that this is absolutely critical, that this whole drug situation, including the heroin epidemic, become a priority for this Congress. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today as we examine how to protect our communities from this fast-growing and skyrocketing national epidemic.